Horror movies have a lasting impact on the mind. That's the entire point of them, to scare you and to linger, to make you fear things you didn't before. Maybe you second guess taking a shower in a motel, or maybe you should check the back seat of your car before getting inside. Regardless of what it is, many horror movie moments have stuck with us for years. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 horror movie scenes that ruined your childhood. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at number 5, we have the Sixth Sense kitchen scene.
Mama? No. Dinner is not ready. What are you gonna do? You can't hurt me anymore! Lenny, you're a terrible husband!
Released in 1999 and directed by everyone's favourite, M. Night Shyamalan, The Sixth Sense stars Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment and tells the story of Cole Sear, a boy who is able to see and speak to the dead, and Malcolm Crowe, a child psychologist who tries to help him. Now this is actually the film that put Shyamalan on the map, however it was all downhill after this, even though I did really like The Village. Fight me all you want, I think it's great. And Signs. You know what, he's great. Anyway, it's not about him. Now, as you would expect, seeing ghosts isn't always the best time for young Cole. He sees people whether he wants to or not. It could be a hanging body in a school or a vomiting child in his tent. But all he knows is that the ghosts need some kind of help, and he wants to listen to them. In one particular scene, Cole goes to the bathroom in the middle of the night. As most children are, he's scared to go in the dark, but he musters up the courage and runs. However, while in there, someone walks past and heads into the kitchen, so he follows. And in there, he spots a woman who isn't his mother. She begins screaming at him bloody murder, stating "you can't hurt me anymore," revealing cuts on her wrists. Of course, it is absolutely terrifying for us and Cole, who runs back to his room and into his tent. Now what makes this scene so terrifying is the simple fact that the ghost is depicted as a normal person, not like a terrifying demon or poltergeist like often displayed in Hollywood movies. The scene works because we're initially expecting to see something fantastical, but instead what we get is the complete opposite, and this is why I don't pee in the middle of the night. Coming in at number 4, The Others, I Am Your Daughter.
What's the matter?
Where is my daughter? What have you done with my daughter?
Are you mad? I am your daughter.
Personally, one of my favourite horror films of all time, and not just because of Nicole Kidman, but mostly because of Nicole Kidman. The Others was released back in 2001 and directed by Alejandro Amenabar, with the movie telling the story of Grace, a woman who moves into a new house with her 2 photosensitive children in Jersey. However, when a series of inexplicable events begin to occur, Grace starts to believe that the house may be haunted, but little did we know what was really going on inside of that home. And when we did find out, it shook us to our core. However, the twist of The Others isn't what we're going to be discussing today. No, we're going to be talking about one of the most terrifying scenes in the entire movie that I had to mimic for years to come just to get over my fear. You know, when you have to make fun of something that scares you repeatedly just so it doesn't scare you anymore? Or do I just do that? That's a normal thing, right? Strange, I know. Now, throughout the movie, Grace's children, Anne and Nicholas, inform their mother that they are not alone in the house and that Anne has been seeing a series of different ghosts. Of course, Grace didn't believe her at first, not until she saw what was going on firsthand. In one scene, Anne is dressed in a gown and a veil playing in her room. However, is it really Anne? Because as Grace approaches, Anne's hand looks old and wrinkled, and when Grace asks who she is, Anne turns, displaying an aged face and white hair, stating, "I am your daughter." And that right there is one of the most haunting lines in cinematic history. Still sends chills down my spine. Everyone has to watch this movie. Scary. Coming in at number 3, The Ring TV scene. Released in 2002 and directed by Gore Verbinski, The Ring is a remake of the 1998 Japanese horror film Ring, based on the novel of the same name by Koji Suzuki. The film stars Naomi Watts, who plays a journalist who investigates a cursed videotape that seemingly kills the viewer 7 days after watching it. Now, despite being a PG-13 adaptation, the American version of The Ring is incredibly effective and downright chilling. Now, the tape itself is one of the creepiest elements of the movie, with it showing disturbing and unsettling imagery. movie. A woman falling off a cliff, a woman in a mirror, a deformed mouth and an upside down chair, chopped off fingers, then of course a well. Now up until this point Samara has just existed in the tape and in stories. However, in this scene she climbs from her well, as we've seen previously, walks forwards, keeps walking forwards, and then emerges out of the TV and into reality, absolutely scaring every audience member half to death in the process. There is a sense of paranoia after watching something like this go down on your screen. You feel like perhaps you have watched something unholy and that perhaps in 7 days you will receive a phone call warning you of your impending doom. Never say never. Coming in at number 2, The Blair Witch Project: The Corner. Released in 1999 and directed by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, The Blair Witch Project is a supernatural horror and is considered to be one of the first found footage movies of all time. The movie itself is based on the purportedly true story of student filmmakers Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and Joshua Leonard, who hike in the Black Hills near Burkittsville, Maryland in 1994 to film a documentary on the Blair Witch, a local legend. The three ultimately disappeared, however, their equipment and footage was discovered a year later, with the film we see supposedly being the recovered footage. For a period of time when the movie first came out, people truly believed this movie was real, myself included, and I still remember the feeling I had the very first time I watched it. I was so young, my mum said she would watch it with me because I was too young to watch it. She was like, okay, we'll watch it together, not so bad. She fell asleep 5 minutes into the movie. Then I had to watch it on my own, and then after that final scene I just stood shaking. And that's why I am the way I am today. Now, like I said, this movie started it all with a campaign that convinced thousands upon thousands of people that the events behind the movie were true. It wasn't until years later that we were told otherwise. So in the final moments of the movie, when Heather is running through the abandoned house in the woods looking for her friends, and we see Michael standing in the corner of the basement, motionless, that absolutely petrified us. So why is this so scary? It's the simple fact that we're never given answers, and not to mention it suggests something supernatural is at play here. On top of that, in the early stages of the movie, a story was told about a man who lived out in the woods and used to kidnap children. He would face one of the children in the corner while the act was happening, in turn suggesting that this is all connected. Then of course, moments after seeing Michael in the corner, Heather screams and a camera drops to the ground, and that is how the movie ends, with zero answers, just silence. They all died. The end. And finally, coming in at number 1, The Witches mask scene. Now, I completely understand that The Witches is not necessarily a horror film. It is actually a children's film. But if you were to ask me what movie in the world traumatized me as a child, I would choose this one all day, every day, and then maybe Psycho. The Witches is a kids movie, yet it has the same amount of scares as any horror movie on this list, if not more. Released in 1990 and directed by Nicholas Roeg, The Witches is a dark fantasy movie based on the 1983 children's novel by Roald Dahl. The film follows a young boy named Luke who stumbles onto a witches' convention while on a seaside holiday with his grandmother. So he attempts to stop them as they plan to rid the entire world of children, even after they turn him into a mouse. Now, we all know what scene I'm about to get into, because for anyone who has watched The Witches, this particular moment haunted them long into their adult life. Me included, it still stresses me out. My parents have told me in the past that when this scene would come on TV, I would run and hide behind the sofa so that I didn't have to watch it, and honestly, if it came on now, I'd probably still do the same thing. So essentially, here's what's going down. The Grand High Witch, played by Angelica Houston, arrives at the seaside resort for a convention with her fellow witches, which is of course a secret from everyone else. Here's where things begin to get terrifying. The witches gather in the large room, take their seats, and the Grand High Witch takes to the stage. This is where things descend into madness. The witches begin to remove their shoes, their wigs, and then lastly, the Grand High Witch removes her mask. And I've never been more horrified in my whole entire life. She tears off her mask to reveal a grotesque looking face, with a large pointy nose and a deformed body. Honestly, the image still haunts me to this day. They then quickly put their wigs and shoes back on and bring a young boy in, Bruno, turn him into a mouse, which is extremely disturbing to watch. They all point and laugh as the young boy begins to transform, and Luke watches on from his hiding spot in the corner. And look, regardless of whether you consider this to be a horror movie or not, I know it's not, this is one of the most traumatic scenes in cinematic history for a child. And me. So let me have this is my list, this is number 1 for me, okay? I'm very distressed. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any movie scenes that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos, Top 5 Scary Randonautica Stories. William Moore said, first time hearing of Randonautica. Think I'll stick to random impulse exploration. Yeah, after doing that list, I have zero interest in ever downloading that app, and I don't know why people would want to. It still makes no sense to me. At all. Mauricio Frere said, hey, can I please get a shout out and keep up the good work, love your content. You can get a shout out, and you did. Thank you very much. Real Delta Game said, never heard of that. It's probably for the best. You don't want to know about it. Fallout 2 said, Craigslist are constantly setting people up to be mugged and assaulted. This just sounds like an accident waiting to happen. It's very true. You have no idea who could be waiting for you when you I can't even make jokes about this app because I literally know nothing about it, other than it sends you somewhere and someone could be there waiting to kill you. End of. Nap Nap said, you're so funny when you get scared. Well, now that you've said that, you should head over to our new scary channel, Top 10 Central Dark, where I react to all things scary. If you like me getting scared, you'll love me over there. Gash Goblin 99 said, that squirrel owes me a vodka. I spilled mine. Oh yeah, he's talking about the Central Dark promo that we included in the video. Yes, it's pretty damn terrifying. Imagine being the one watching it, with headphones in, with loud music. Terrifying. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, I'll see you later. What the f is this? Go away. Now this is actually the film that put M. Night Shyamalan. Anyway, just pissed myself. Amenabar. The Others was released back in 2001 and directed by Alejandro I know it's easy and I keep forgetting it when I get there. Alejandro Amenabar. The Others was released back in 2001 and directed by Alejandro Amenabar. One more time, just for fun. And then at the end, they're all dead.